Okay, I think I'm live here. Going to give it just a minute here. I see a few people over there in the chat. I've got the chat right over here on the TV screen, blowing up nice and big so I can read it. See Javi, Javi's Woodshop's over there. Jeff Connor, thanks for coming by, guys. Going to talk a little bit tonight about the Gatton CNC. Most of the time when I'm doing these things, I'm always demonstrating something on a garage work CNC. But I all the time I get a lot of questions about the Gatton CNC, and I just thought I'd kind of do one of these real quick. Won't make this very long, and we'll go over some of the normal questions that I get. We've got Ryan Ballard, Murray Cohen, Holly Denny, Kyle Buckley, Harneal Media. Oh, that's Steve, I think. How you doing, Steve? Yeah, we got a few folks showing up here. Anyway, I just got a few things I want to talk about before I get started talking about the Gatton. Had a great time at the CNC / maker meetup we had weekend before last. Just had a great time. We had good turnout. As you can see, I had everybody sign my little state of Georgia thing there. And had some good barbecue, lots of good conversation, fellowship, all that stuff. So I want to thank everybody that came out for that. I know a bunch of you made a long drive. Javi came all the way from Miami. David Battershell came all the way from Oklahoma. So thank you guys for making the trip. I hope the barbecue was worth it. We catered some Shane's barbecue. Gave away a few T-shirts, just had a good time. And I especially want to thank my good friend, Melinda Davies, for hosting the event at her shop. As everybody that attended knows now, she's got an awesome shop, and it was a lot of fun. And hopefully we can make this an annual thing. So thanks to all that came, and thank you, Melinda, for letting us hang out there. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, the Klingsport Extravaganza is a little over 2 weeks away. I've already got my reservations made. It's on the Friday, October 27th and Saturday, October 28th. It's a great little woodworking show. It's in Hickory, North Carolina. There's lots of great hotels right there within walking distance of the convention center, which is where it's held at. So come out if you can. Looking forward to going to that again. And also, my buddy Javi, who I know is over there in the chat, I saw him a while ago. Yeah, he's still over there. He has got a challenge going on. And if you look down in the video description here, click the little show more thing to drop it down. You'll see that I've got a link to a video he just put out today talking about his 30-day almost impossible challenge. So that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do it. I think I've got enough stuff backed up on my list of to-do stuff. I could probably do something once a day for 30 days. So I'm going to try to hang in there with you, Javi. And I invite everybody else to try and take that little challenge too. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to give a super big shout out to Holly Denny of Holly Denny Wood Art for sending me this awesome T-shirt. Thank you very much, Holly. Also, you need to check out her website. It is www.hollydenny.com. And go check out those Shawshank pins that she's turning. If you don't know what I mean by Shawshank, I'm not much of a movie person, but one of my favorite all-time movies is Shawshank Redemption. And you'll have to go to her website to get the whole story, because I'll probably tell it wrong, but it's something about she knows the person that owns the property that tree was on, and it fell or lightning struck it or something. I'm not sure what it was. But at any rate, she got a bunch of pin blanks from that tree. And I've got a pin on order with her, and I'm really excited about getting it because, like I said, that's one of my favorite movies, even though I'm not a big movie person. But I always like the part where Red is telling Andy Dufresne, "You better get busy living or get busy dying." That's one of my favorite things. So excited to have a pin made out of that Shawshank tree. So everybody go over to hollydenny.com and check that out. She makes awesome pins. I see her post pictures of her work all the time on Facebook. So go check that out. All right. Has anybody got any questions? Okay, let's see. We got Larry Duggar's watching tonight. How you doing, Larry? Has anybody got any questions about anything before I get started talking about the Gatton CNC kits? I'll give it a minute to scroll up here. Also, I guess I need to do a sound check too. I've got, as you can see right back here, I've got a fan going, and it is, I tell you, to be nearly the middle of October. I just saw on the news earlier tonight, they hit a record high. I think it was like 88 degrees here, and it is super humid too because of the what was it, Tropical Storm Nate, I guess, came through here. Got about 3 inches of rain day before yesterday, and it's been, I mean, the air has been so thick you can cut it with a knife. But yeah, so unless the fan is real annoying, well, even if it is, I'm probably not going to turn it off. I'll put it that way because it is hot out here. So Darren Birds, Gatton CNC kits, yes, I do send to Canada, and I pay for the shipping. I've been charging the same thing for the Gatton CNC kits ever since I started, and I've always had free shipping to continental U.S. and Canada. So, you know, it cost me a little more to ship to you guys, but you know, not that much. So I'll cover the shipping for that, and just like I always have. Richard McIntosh, how you doing? It's good to see you again, Richard, at the meetup. Richard, I believe he's in Temple, Georgia, I think. Also, since I'm talking about how hot it is, I got to give a shout out to my buddy Javi for getting me. He got me a Gatton CNC tumbler and a GarageWorks CNC tumbler, and these things are awesome. Made by Chad Rossclags of Mancrafting. Go check them out. Powder coated, laser engraved, pretty awesome. Okay, I don't see any other questions popping up over there. So I guess I'll go ahead and get started with talking about the Gatton CNC kits. Like I said, I always get questions pretty much on a daily basis about the Gatton CNC kits. People want to know what is included with the Gatton CNC parts kit. How much will it cost to build a Gatton CNC? Where can I get the other parts needed to complete it? What kind of controller, drive box, stepper motors should I use? What kind of computer and software? All those, you know, kinds of questions I get. So I'm going to try to go through here and answer the most common ones I get, and I'll also Shade Tree CNC, Rich Moeller, how you doing? Lewis Cobb, 50 degrees here in Canada. Man, I'd trade you right now because it's still pretty toasty right here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the first question. Like I said, I've got the chat going, blown up real big over here on my TV screen. So I'm if you see me looking over that way, that's what I'm doing. I'm watching the chat. So if you have a question other than what I'm answering here, feel free to throw it up there, and I'll try not to miss it. But anyway, one of the first questions I always get is what is included with the Gatton CNC kit? And of course, you can see mine behind me here. And if I step over here, this is what you get. This is 21 parts. And if you go to my website where you purchase these, the DaveGatton.com website, you'll see I've actually got another blank there where the parts are cut out, but I haven't cut them out of the blank. So they're leaned up there. But there's 21 different parts. And it's basically all the parts needed to make the, well, I won't say the gantry because I don't include the long pieces. This is really all. Let me just see if I can get back here. Really, the only pieces you have to make are these long pieces that make up the gantry. All of the uprights, all of the little Acme nut blocks, these things right here, all of the Z box, the Z axis, front and rear plate, all of that stuff is what comes in the kit. So you've got 21 parts. And the neat thing about this is because I don't ship those long parts, you know, you're going to cut those yourself. And the neat thing is you can make it either smaller or bigger than what I have in the plans. And of course, if you want to make the table bigger, deeper that way, you can do that as well. So you're not restricted in size. The plans that come with the kit, I got it set up and printed out right here. These are what I would consider very detailed mechanical drawings. There's probably some folks that could buy a kit, get a set of plans like this, and never watch the videos, could probably build it all right from here. Then there's other people that when they get this might be the first mechanical drawing they've ever seen in their life. So they're probably going to go want to watch the videos. I would encourage you to, when you buy a kit and you get your plans, print out your plans and go through and watch the videos and maybe make some notes, because there's some things that I do in the videos that are really kind of hard to show in the plans, as far as little tricks on how to line stuff up, how to get stuff parallel. There's stuff in those videos that I don't really show in the plans. But you can get the plans, you get your choice of, the plans can be either in decimal. If you're used to working with decimals, you can get them in fractions, or for my metric folks, I've got a set of metric, which will be millimeters. Also in the plans, there's, like I said, there's like 39 pages worth of plans, or drawings, I should say. And then I also include a simple conversion chart. It's fractions to decimal conversion chart. So it's even got the millimeters on this chart as well. So that pretty much covers everything. And then I also, because with the drawings, I call out a lot of screws and stuff, like a number 8 screw or whatever. And some people may not know what the heck that is. So I also include a chart that shows the different screw sizes and also tells you what size pilot hole that you should drill for those screws. So I've tried to think of everything, but so to answer that first question, what all is included in the Gatton CNC parts kit? You get these 21 parts. I paid for the shipping, like I said, for continental US and Canada. And then when I ship the parts, I then email you the set of drawings. And based on what you've selected when you purchase them, you either bought decimal, fractions, or metric, and that's what I'll send you. So that should cover that one, I think. Eric Smith, he says, just completed his build last weekend, just doing the pretty stuff now. Yep. Landis Stoots, when you cut out units, why are there drill looking holes in all the corners? I'm not sure, Landis, I think you may be talking about these holes right here, if you can put a comment in there real quick. I see another question too. Dave, there are 2 small rectangular blocks that come with the kit. I'm confused as to where they are used. Probably a dumb question. No, it's not a dumb question, but look at your drawings. Like I said, if you watch the videos, if there's a part that's in your kit and you don't know where it goes, it's in those drawings. It'll show you where it goes. You may, if it's just a rectangular block and it's about, let me spread these out here. It may be this part right here. It's the part that goes right up under here. It's the bottom piece that ties the front and rear Z plate together. So I hope that answers that question. And getting back to the holes in the corner, that is because when you cut your gantry piece and you go to set it on here like this, because I'm cutting them out with a round bit, the square ones don't work too good. I just put that in there for relief so that you can get that exactly right there. So I'm assuming that's what hole you're talking about. If it's not, put another thing. Okay, Scott Hillman says, how wide should it be to have a 48-inch cutting area? That's another good question, and it's a pretty common question. When I built the one that I did in the video, I made that, and here I go. I'm going from memory. You guys probably know better than I if you watch the videos, because I haven't watched them in a long time. But I think I made those cross members, which are these pieces right here. I made them a little different. I had them on the one I did for the build. I had it hanging out about 3 inches off on each side. And I believe those were like 56.5, I think. And that gave me where I could reach probably about 49 inches cutting. So Javi says 52 5/8 exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So let me mention this too. The plans, and we're going to go through this in a little more detail when we go about the cost. The plans call for, you know, a 48 by 48 or exactly a half sheet of plywood for the table. So anything you want to change, like who was it? Sorry, scrolled up. I forget who it was that asked the question. But, you know, if you want to make that wider so that you can cut 48, you know, you just have to add to whatever dimension I have here. If you need to add 8 inches, just add 8 inches to everything that's going horizontal. I don't know. I thought maybe I was missing a question, but I guess not. But anyway, like I said, I know a lot of folks build, you know, have been building these things, and I don't know. I think there's probably very few people that have built them exactly to the plans. I think just about everybody, they may not make it any deeper, but they make it a little bit wider so they can get that 48. And I get that. But like I said, when I was doing the plans, I was trying to keep it simple, inexpensive. So I made it where just a half sheet of plywood is what's used for the table. Okay, so I think we're pretty clear on what comes with the kit. The set of plans and the 21 CNC cut parts. Yeah, that's Javi's bringing up a good point there. It says, but that doesn't include any extra space on the sides for clamping. Always think about that, you know, because it's one thing to throw a piece of material up here that's 48, but it's another thing having room to clamp it. This particular table right here that I use, and this is some of your, you know, some of you guys, your first time watching me. This is what I use to cut these kits. In fact, I cut 2 kits today that came off of this machine. Well, this table is just a shade under 54 inches. And I can easily cut 48. I do have one little row right out here on the edge on both sides for a clamp. But most of the time when I'm cutting these blanks, I just put 4 clamps across the front and 4 across the back. And I try to look at the blank to see if it's bowed. And if it is, I try to put where the bow's not going up, that it's going, you know, like this. And I want it to go like this, so when I clamp on the ends, I pull it down flat. Ron Cleveland said, I did mine exactly the same size as the plans called for. Okay, good for you, Ron. I got somebody who did. Like I said, I think a lot of people try to make it bigger. But I just want to go with like an even half sheet of plywood to make it easy for people. Because some people might be able to just go and have, you know, one of the big box stores use their panel saw and cut a half sheet of plywood, or maybe they sell it, you know, a half sheet of plywood, and you can just take it right home and put it on there and not have to worry about cutting it yourself if you didn't have a way to cut it. You do need to try to make sure it's square though. At least one good side that's square. The other one's off, you can fudge and get away with that. Okay. One of the other questions that I get all the time, and this is going to take a little bit to go through, is how much will it cost to build a Gatton CNC? So I went through today and I've kind of thrown some numbers. Mine are probably on the high side. But I wanted to try to throw some numbers together for folks to get a ballpark. And as I read off this stuff, don't worry, you guys don't have to add it up. I've got it totaled up for you. But if if anybody says I missed something, speak up and we'll see. Anyhow, here's what I've got. Okay, you've got the cost of the plans. I've been charging $250 for the set of plan or the parts kit and the plans. That's been the same price ever since I started doing it. So you got that right off the rip. Okay, the table frame. Now, again, when I say table frame, I'm talking about what I did in the videos for the build, which this is still a, the machine looked like this. It wasn't on a big table with a cabinet and all that stuff. You can do all that if you want, but what I'm talking about is just a simple frame. You can see that's just a few 2x4s right there. Actually, I think you'd need just 3 8-foot 2x4s to make that, like what I did in the videos. So 8-foot 2x4, at least around here, is probably about $350, $375. I rounded up to $4 a piece, so we got $12 worth of 2x4s. And again, if you're planning on building a big thing with cabinets and all that, it's going to be a little bit more. I'm only talking about building kind of off the plans. Let's see, the long gantry parts that you have to provide. Again, this depends on how big you want to go with it. There's a top and a bottom, and then there's a front and a back, obviously, but then there's also an inside piece. So you have about 6 long pieces that you'll have to cut. And even the ones on the plans, using the 48 by 48 half sheet of plywood. Let's see if I can find that piece. They're going to be longer than 48. What do I got here? 50. Yeah, it looks like the plans show that 52.5 for that piece right there. So you're going to need to get those 6 pieces, and they're going to be at least 52.5. You may decide, like I said, you may decide to make them longer. You're going to need another sheet of plywood for that. So the long gantry parts, 4x8 sheet of plywood, around here, all the stuff I buy, it's with tax and everything, it's about 53 bucks, a little less than 53 bucks for a 4x8 sheet of plywood. That's the Pure Bond, either birch or maple, you know, the stuff that's pretty decent. This is what I use exclusively to cut the kits out of, the Pure Bond plywood I get from that orange big box store. Okay, the tabletop half sheet of plywood, again, if you go buy a half sheet, it's probably gonna be about 27 bucks, or maybe you go buy another full sheet, cut it yourself, and just have a half sheet for whatever. You know, everybody uses plywood, so wouldn't hurt to buy it. So I figured another 27 bucks for the half sheet. The aluminum angle is another thing. And again, if you want to use steel, I'm not even going to get into the aluminum steel thing. I'm sick of talking about that. I prefer the aluminum. Thank you, JP. He's looking out for me over there in the chat. The plans call for 3/4 by 3/4 by 1/8 aluminum. Like I said, you can use steel if you want. If you use aluminum, use 6061. And the price I put, you're going to need about 6 8-foot lengths. And again, you may be able to pick this up somewhere else cheaper. I just use McMaster car prices because that's where I get it most of the time, just because I can click a mouse and it'll be delivered to my house in a couple of days. I don't have to go get it. So 6 8-foot lengths. And and again, I'm rounding all this stuff up. So I got about $75 worth of aluminum angle. 3/4 by 3/4 by 1/8, 6061 aluminum angle. Sawdust maker. He says there's a senior discount for the kit. You got a senior cutting them, buddy. I went through that the other day. I was talking. People was asking me about military discounts and all that stuff. I charge the same low price for everybody. I feel like it's a good bang for the buck. A lot of other people think it is too, or at least have told me that. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. So aluminum angle, 75 bucks. The 26 V groove bearings, the 3H V groove bearings, which I guess y'all can see them in the shop right here. Maybe you can't see them too good, but that's what everything runs on. There's 26 of them. You can get them for about 60 bucks, I think, for, well, I have it on my website, a link, and I think there's 16 for about 30 bucks, 28 bucks, something like that. So if you buy 2 of those, you'd really have 32. You'd really have a few extra. But about 60 bucks for the V groove bearings. Okay. Yeah, I figured you were, Richard. Okay, now hardware is kind of a hard thing to pick. And like I said, I've got kind of a price range here for the hardware, and I'm probably high. But I'd rather be a little high and people start buying stuff and go, oh, well, I can get that cheaper than what he said, than to go, oh, this cost me more than what he said. So anyway, the hardware, and I'm talking about screws, washers, hex nuts. And when I say screws, I'm also talking about the 3/8 screws you use to put the V groove bearings on and all that. So all of that hardware, I put somewhere between $100 and $150. That, like I said, that's probably high, because you can, when you look at these plans, and I guess one thing I need to point out about these plans too, when I call out on a lot of these drawings, there will be it'll be a master car part number. And you can click on that. When you pull these up on your computer as a PDF, that's a live link. So when you click on it, it takes you straight to the McMaster site, opens up the page for that bolt or washer or whatever it is that I put on here. And that's mostly to tell you what type I'm using. if you don't want to buy from McMaster, because in a lot of cases, if you need, say you need 6 bolts of something, and you go to buy them from McMaster, but you got to buy like a box of 25 or a box of 50, it's probably better to go to the hardware store. And like I said, you can go to McMaster Car and you can even print out the drawing of a bolt or a washer. And if you don't know how to tell the guy at the hardware store, just take that drawing with you and say, here, I need 6 of these, you know, or whatever. And that way you'll get the right thing. But anyway, like I said, I put $100, $150, and when I used when I did the total, I took the median right there and used 125. That's probably high because if you shop around at your hardware stores, you know, you can probably find some stuff that'll work without paying some of the McMaster stuff. I personally like to use McMaster because I figure if I buy a box of 25 and I only need 3, eventually I'll use those other ones sometime. I got bins here full of hardware and stuff. So, you know, I don't worry about having extra, but some folks might. Okay, another item that is called out in the plans is, and again, this is McMaster Cars where I get them. You might be able to find them somewhere else. I don't know, but if you do, make sure you're getting the exact same thing. You know, make sure when you're comparing that it's apples to apples, not apples to oranges, because I've had people call me and email me and say, man, I can't get this to work on this lead screw. And then I get them to send me a link of what they bought, and it's not even close to the right pitch. So if you try to shop somewhere else, make sure you get the same thing, only somewhere else. But McMaster Car, Precision Acme lead screws, they're half inch diameter, 10 threads per inch, 5-star. I should have already had my little sample out here, I guess. Okay, I guess I'm back. This is just obviously a short piece of the start, but this is what I'm talking about. It's 5-star. I don't know if I can hold that up to the camera where you can see it or not. Maybe not. Yeah, it's probably not going to come in good now. But there's 5 starts. That's what makes this thing, you know, move a little faster than a single start or 2-star. It's 5 starts, so every 2 revolution, this thing moves an inch. So the lead screws are, I got $125 down for those. They are, I looked today and they're still the same price they've been for about a year. They're $40.52 for a 6-foot length. If you build it to the plans, you're going to need 3 6-foot lengths. So that's about $120 something. I just rounded up to 125. And you should have some drop longer than this, but you will have some drop to make your Z-axis lead screw from the other 3. From your X and the 2 Y's, you should have enough drop to make that. If you start making your machine a lot bigger, or maybe some folks say, well, the lead screws come 6 inch, so I'm just going to use all that. Well, then you're probably going to have to buy the 6-foot lead screws, and then maybe buy a 3-footer to use for the Z-axis. But if you stick fairly close to the plans, you should have enough drop that you cut off of one to be able to use for the Z-axis. So I got $125 down for the lead screws. The other thing, which this is one thing where people always kind of balk because they like, you know, that's pricey. Hey, Jack, how you doing? I see Masso CNC controllers in the house. Sean Martyr. Let's see who okay, I guess that's it. Anyway, the lead screws, the Acme nuts and the couplers that I spec out in the plans. And again, you know, some folks try to look at that and they'll go somewhere else, try to save money, but I've been doing this a long time, using these things a long time, and I have yet to find anything better. Guy in Texas, Tim Feinstein. I think I said his name right. I hope so. Dumpster CNC makes these, and he's got it. It's real easy when you go to the website. And again, all these things links in the drawings and also on my website. You know, like I said, I try to make it as easy as possible. You just click on something and it takes you right to it. He's got, you know, he calls the kit a Gatton CNC anti-backlash kit is what he calls it. And when you order that, you get 4 of these, which is the anti-backlash nut. And then you also get 4 of these couplers. And the thing I really love about these couplers, and I know y'all probably heard me talk about this before, is you got the 1/4-inch bore on this side that goes on the stepper motor. And then on this side, he taps them to match the threads on these 5-start lead screws. I have yet to find anybody else that sells couplers that does that. They always just have a different size bore on the other side. So that makes it really nice because you cut this off, you file this down where this goes on real easy, clamp that down. You won't ever have to worry about that coming off. So those are the kit. I think is $157.50. I just rounded up to $158. And now we're done with the couplers. The drive box and stepper motors. And here we go again. You know, I really don't care what people use. I've been using the Xylotex drive box for years simply because it's real plug and play. It's color coded. And a lot of the people that are buying these kits from me, or the Garage Works for that matter, have never done any of this before, and they don't want to learn electronics. So I recommend that. But everything is made for a NEMA 23 bolt pattern. So just like the Garage Works CNC, if you're an electronic guy and you want to get your own or build your own, that's fine. You can do it. That's why I don't offer a kit with it. You know, I just, whatever you want to get. I recommend a kit, but if you want to do your own, that's fine. But there'll be a NEMA 23. The Xylotex drive box, you get y'all have seen those before. I didn't have one out here. I got them all on the machine. So I got 3 of them right here in this garage. You get the drive box, you get a parallel cable, I think like a 3-foot parallel cable. And you get the 4 stepper motors, which right there on top of the Z 425-ounce NEMA 23 stepper motors. That kit is $405. So, you know, we're starting to get on up there as far as price. Also, depending on what size machine you build, the Xylotex drive box comes with the 4 cables coming out of the box. Like I said, they're color coded, but they're only 6-foot cables. Well, if you're going to build a bigger machine like this one, and you're going to put drag chain, and it's going to run up through here and then up through one in the back. You can't see the one I got on the back there. You know, it uses a lot more wire. So at least for the Y-axis and the A-axis that are on the back, those don't move anywhere. They're stationary. So you're okay if you're going to mount that box somewhere back towards the back of the machine, which is actually what I recommend, down underneath and to the back of the machine. You'll have the 6-foot should be enough for those 2 steppers. But to run the other 2 all up through the drag chain and all that stuff, you'll definitely need an extension cable. So Jeff, you know, you could make your own if you want to buy the wire. You can find some probably on eBay or Amazon for sure. I've got a little spool of it over there. But Jeff sells them for $10, and they already come with the Molex connectors on them. I mean, you can't hardly beat it. You know, so a lot of people go ahead and order at least 2 extra long cables, 2, I don't know, what are they, 6 or 8 feet, I think, for $10 a piece. So if you throw in a couple extra cables, there's another $20. So everything I've talked about so far, the Gatton CNC kit, the 2x4s, the plywood, the miscellaneous hardware, the aluminum angle, the lead screws, the Acme nuts and couplers, and the Xylotex dry box, stepper motors, and a couple extra cables. Using the figures that I've jotted down here, I come up with about $1,310. And again, I've kind of rounded stuff up. Now, you should have a machine pretty much ready to run. Assuming, you know, we're not talking about computer and software and all that yet. We're going to get to that in just a second. But you know, you think about it, you've now built a machine and you've got probably a much larger footprint than you would ever be able to afford to buy if you bought one of those machines from ABC Router Company. You know, I'm just making that up, but you know what I'm talking about. If you buy a turnkey machine, what I like to do is always take what it costs and figure out how much that is a square inch. You know, take the cutting area and say, okay, it's this many square inches of cutting area, so it's costing me this much per square inch. Well, you're getting a much better bang for your buck by building something like this, because you can build these things way, like I said, way bigger than you could probably buy. You know, you could build this to buy something even close to this size or even half this size. It probably costs you about 4 times as much. You don't believe me? Just go look and see what's out there. It's going to be out there. Okay, so we're at about $1,300 or so right now. Okay, what else do you need to get this thing going? Okay, well, you need a router, obviously. I kind of assume most people they're going to build one of these probably already have a router. You may not, but you know, most people already have a router. So if you don't have one, I just threw anywhere from $100 to $300 because there's a big range of what you could put. You know, the kit comes with the router mount that I make them where it'll work with a 3.5 inch diameter body router. That covers several different routers. It covers just about all of the Porter cables, you know, not the compact, not the 450, but the 690, the 890, everything except the big boy, the 7518. It gets, I think it's like 4.5 or something. It's huge. But this, and there's also like a Bosch, I don't even know what else, but there's a lot of routers out there that are 3.5 inch diameter. That's why I stick with making them 3.5 inch, because you can pick one of those up at Lowe's, Home Depot, probably your hardware store, whatever. They're very common, and they're you know, they're pretty good. Even a 690 is like 1 3/4 horsepower. The 890 is, I think, 2 1/4, something like that. Gives you a good beefy router to run on these things. Yeah, Javi said he spent $8,500 for his Cam Master 24 by 36. And you could build something, you know, we're basically talking about twice as big as that as far as cutting area. And we're at $1,300 or so. Okay, so, you know, and again, another thing you're going to need besides the router is a computer of some type. I didn't even put a number down there because, you know, most people already have some kind of computer, either a laptop or a desktop, and probably, I'd be willing to bet probably 80% of folks have not just the computer they're using now, but the one that they stopped using because it got too old and too slow for internet stuff. They probably got stashed in the closet somewhere. You don't need a lot of computer horsepower to run these different kinds of machines, you know, whether you're running Mach 3, UC, CNC, whatever, you know. You probably heard me tell this story before. The one I have out there in my shop is an old E machine that's probably, it's at least 10, if not 15 years old. It's running Windows, an old Windows XP, something like that. You know, it's slow when I when I try to do the simulation for VCAR Pro. God almighty, it's slow. But as far as running Mach 3, it does that just fine. It don't have any problems. The one I use here in the garage, like I said, I've got 3 different machines here, and I pretty much run all 3 of them off of the same desktop that I bought from Michael Chipser. I think I gave him $50 for it, or might have been more than that. I don't know. I think it was about $50 I bought that for. A little bitty Dell unit. He put Windows 7 on it. And I have it where I can just unplug, you know, my UC, because I use UC 100. Even though that one has a parallel port, I'm using the USB because I've got the UC 100. So I just kind of move that around and, you know, close Mach 3 down, open it back up to a different machine profile, and then I'm off and running. So again, Windows 7, it's not a super fast computer. Doesn't have to be. Darren Birds, no, there's no DXF files with that. You shouldn't need any backup pieces. I mean, the only pieces you have to cut yourself are simple rectangles. So, you know, the drawings give you the dimensions for those, but, you know, you don't need DXF file to cut a rectangle. So, okay. So computer, you know, I didn't know what to put for that. If you've got a laptop, you know, I've got 2 laptops here. Every once in a while, if I'm going to run the laser one and I don't want to pull a thing over here close to this one, I'll bring my laptop out and I can run it off of that because it's got the USB and I'm using that UC 100. Okay, speaking of the UC 100, now we're talking about control software. Probably the 2 biggest things for control software is Mach 3 and UC CNC software. Mach 3, and there's Mach 4 too. I don't know what it is. It's probably, I think it's more than Mach 3. I don't know. If somebody knows, put it on there. I don't know, because I don't buy Mach 4 because I've got Mach 3. I've been using it for years, and there's no reason to change. But Mach 3, last time I looked, was $175. The UC CNC software, if y'all remember, if y'all been watching me a while back when I was doing the CNC with Dave show, I bought that software and kind of did a little, kind of like a little review on it. I know a lot of folks that use it. It's good stuff. But to me, it was kind of misleading because what was weird is I had already bought a UC 100 for $115 off of Amazon. And I was using it with Mach 3, which is real easy to do. It allows you to just run it, you know, on a computer that doesn't have a parallel port. You can just use your USB port. So I had already gone through a Ethernet smooth stepper, which also works well, but I preferred the UC 100. So I already had the UC 100. And then I went to buy the software, and everybody kept saying, well, the software is way cheaper. It's $60, and Mach 3 is $175. Well, you know, when you buy the software for $60, you've just got demo software, because it will not run unless you have either a UC 100 or UC 300 or UC 4. You've got to have that other part. And to me, they don't make that real clear. I even wrote the company I bought mine from, and I said, you know, it don't matter to me because I'd already bought one. In fact, I bought 2 UC 100. But to me, your website makes it look like you can get this software for $60. It does everything Mach 3 does. But unless you have that other piece of the puzzle, it's not. It's just a demo version. So basically, if you take the $115 for UC 100, which I highly recommend getting one of those anyway, regardless of whether you run a Mach 3 or UC CNC, just because you can use the USB port. It's really easy, runs smooth, works great. So you got $115 for that. Then you got the $60 for the UC CNC software. Well, guess what? That adds up to $175, just like the Mach 3 does. So if you're brand new and you don't know which one to buy, it's kind of a wash, unless you want to buy the Mach 3 and spend $175, and then you have to spend another $115 to get the UC 100, which, like I said, I still recommend that, because even if you have an old computer that has a parallel port and it's run along fine, sooner or later, you're going to need to use a USB. I mean, let's face it, parallel ports are gone. You know, they're still around on old computers, but sooner or later, you're going to need that. So I say, what the heck, go ahead and get a UC 100. That way you can switch computers. You can bring a laptop. You can run. It's great. So for the software, I put $175. Like I said, you could buy the $60 UC CNC and one of those UC 100s. You'd have $175 in it, and then you'd be able to run it on a USB port. Design programming software is the next thing that comes up. And I didn't know what to put for that. I could tell folks what I like to use, but there's everything from zero, if you get some of the free stuff, like F-Engrave and some of that stuff, all the way up to what I would say $2,000 for Aspire. So it really depends on what you want to do. You know, if you're just wanting to get a CNC or build one and cut 2D parts, you could buy Cut 2D from Vectric for, I don't know, what is that, 99 bucks or 150 bucks or something like that. You know, it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to do a little more than that, you could get away with the desktop VCarve, although you're limited in size, and you can get around that. But if you're brand new, probably the best bet would be VCarve Pro, and it's $699 right now. And then again, Aspire is right at $2,000. So big range on the software. In fact, you know, a lot of people will spend more for software between the control software and the design programming software than they will for their whole machine. It just, you know, that's just the way it is. So, like I said, the numbers I came up with was about $1,300 for the machine part, and then when you start figuring up all the other stuff, you know, it can be a bit of a rabbit hole, just like anything connected with woodworking or what, you know, really anything. You know, and like I said, on this machine, you notice I've got drag chain, I've got homing switches, all that kind of stuff. I didn't even include any of that because that stuff is really kind of minimal. I think about 40 inches worth of drag chain is, I don't know, 10 or 12 bucks. Limit switches, you can buy like 6 of them for $10 or something. They're really cheap. But I would encourage everybody that's building a Gatton CNC, if you're brand new, just build the machine, get it running, have a little fun with it, learn what you're doing, and then worry about all these little add-on things. Javi says Aspire is $1,800. I don't know where he saw it for $1,800. I don't know. Is that on the Vectric site for $1,800, Javi? I don't know. I see Patrick's workshop in the house. How you doing, Patrick? I mean, I just noticed we got 54 viewers. I thought this was going to be kind of a small, little, intimate group of folks that are, you know, want to know about Gatton CNC. But anyway, glad to have you all. Okay, let me get back to the questions here. I think, so as far as to answer the question, how much will it cost to build? That depends on a lot of factors. How big you want to make it. If you build it kind of to the plans and don't vary too much from that, before you start getting off on all these tangents, putting all these bells and whistles on there, you're probably going to have somewhere between $1,000 and maybe as high as $1,500 on the machine, just to get that done. But like I said, you can build a much larger machine as far as square inches of cutting area than you can. You couldn't buy much of one for say $1,300. You can't buy much for $1,300. It's already put together and all that. Which I think personally, it's a big plus for folks to build their own. I think you'll learn a whole lot more about them putting it together and stuff. When something goes wrong, you'll probably know what it is to fix it because you put it together. So I'm a big fan of doing things yourself, building these things. Okay, another question: where can I get the other parts needed to complete a Gatton CNC? I kind of already went over that a little bit. Lead screws you can get at McMaster-Carr. The hardware you can get at either McMaster-Carr or your local hardware store or big box store, whatever. Shop around, figure out what's cheaper. Is it worth to spend more per bolt at your hardware store than it is McMaster? I mean, that might be the best choice because you don't need all those extra ones that you have to buy in a box. So you just kind of have to do your own research and figure that out. Okay, I think we pretty much answered all these other questions. What kind of control, driver, stepper motors do I need with this kit? Like I said, I recommend the Xylotex just because it's plug and play, and it's really easy if you don't know beans about electronics. You don't have to learn anything. If you know your colors, red, yellow, blue, and green, you got it whooped because that's what the Xylotex is. But if you're all one of those guys that like to build your own, more power to you. Build whatever you want. Gecko kits, Gecko some nice stuff. Lead Shine some nice stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there. We've had Jack in the chat here for Masso. You can use a Masso if you want to. A lot of different things you can do. Okay, I guess I've already covered this. What kind of computer software do I need to run? Okay. Do we have, how am I doing on time here? Oh, perfect. It's right at 9. Anybody got any questions about anything I've talked about? I watched we've got a lot of folks over there. Alfred Hernandez, Scott Hillman, Larry Blair, Sean Martyr, Kevin Calhoun. How are you doing, Kevin? 57 folks watching. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are awesome. Like I said, I really thought this was kind of going to be like maybe a 10 or 15 people thing. I wasn't even paying attention to that down at the bottom of the screen and see we got 57 folks watching. You guys are just freaking awesome. I'm telling you. Dale Ludlam in the house. Michael Bowling. How you doing? Shade Tree, Rich Moeller, Bob Taylor. Let's see. Let's do, before I get off of here, I don't guess I got any more questions. Let's just see a quick show of hands. And when I mean show of hands, put on the chat there as I watch it scroll up. How many folks are going to the Klingspor Extravaganza in Hickory, North Carolina at the end of this month? Dave Mitchell, Eric, Gussie Banjos, how you doing? Feed your dog. That's that's a long story, Larry. I've got. I saw Javi made a comment earlier that Jack, which is a black lab that I'm kind of puppy setting for. When I say puppy setting, he's probably about 9 months or so, but still got a lot of puppy in him. But he's as big as Rocky, and I've got him in a crate just so he doesn't destroy the house. And you notice you don't hear a peep out of Rocky. Rocky's got a much deeper bark, and you won't hear a word out of him. But Jack he won't shut up. Woodmuse Studio, I wish definite maybe if able to go. Darren Birds, you answered mine. We'll be ordering a kit next week. Awesome. I got some already cut. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about. I'm still watching to see. Okay, there's another good question. How long does it take after I order? There was a time when I was out here running this thing every single day, just wide open, cutting kits as fast as I could cut them. But, you know, several hundred people have already got them, so it's kind of slowed down. So I usually cut kits 2, maybe 3 times a week. But when you order a kit, you know, if you happen to get lucky and you order one, and I have one sitting right here, you know, it'll ship out the next day. If I don't have any that I've already cut, then by the time I cut them, sand them, and engrave them, they're still going to ship out probably within 3, 4, 5 days. I always tell on my website, it'll say 5 to 10 business days, you know, which is, 10 business days is really 2 weeks. But they always ship before then. Yeah, Mark Lindsay, that's a long story. I'll have to tell you about it. Maybe we'll do a hangout after we shut this off. Okay. Anyway, I hope Michael Bowen. You know what? I remember you now, Michael. Met you last year in Hickory. We'll be there again. Yeah, I remember you now. Met a lot of folks at Hickory, and not just met folks, but had folks come up to me, and of course, they know what I look like because of this kind of stuff. But I finally got to meet them in person, and now I know what they look like for the most part. Okay, I got one more thing I want to talk about real quick here. Any of you guys that have followed me for very long, and when I say very long, if you follow me for at least the last couple of years or so, although I've been around doing this kind of stuff a whole lot longer than that. But if you follow me the last couple of years or so, you probably know that every once in a while I get a wild hair and I'll do a thing called a giveaway. I've always done the giveaways on the Garage Works. The first one I did was even before I was doing this live stream stuff. I gave away one of the small Garage Works at 24 by 18s. And I gave that away on the Russell Clarity show, Let's Talk Shop with Russ, back February of whatever that was, 2016, I think. And then earlier this year, I think it was in January, maybe February. I don't know. Con Fountain, how you doing, buddy? He was another guy that was at the meetup. Very nice to meet you, Con. But anyway, I did a giveaway on Garage Works 36 by 24, which is right over here that y'all can't see. But I thought, maybe it's time to do a giveaway on a Gatton CNC. Now, the thing about if I do a giveaway on this, I'm giving you the kit for free and paying for the shipping, but obviously you're still going to have to come up with all the other steps. So I'm probably going to give away 2 of them. That's what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking I might do is on the first one, it'll be just a random drawing. I'll have something on my website, and I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Haven't really got all the details worked out. So you just have to watch for my Facebook post, these live streams, and check the website, whatever. I'm on Facebook all the time posting stuff. So if you're not following me on there, that's probably the best place to follow me to keep up with all the stuff I do. Anyhow, I'll probably do the first one as a random drawing. I'll have a thing set up on the website like I did for the others, where you fill out an entry form. We'll put it in the big basket that I have, and we'll do one of these live streams, and we'll pull the name out of the basket, and they will win the free kit. Hopefully it will be somebody who wants one and has the ability or the means to build it with the other stuff, because I'd hate for somebody to win it and then they're like, well, I don't have the money to do this. Well, you don't really need to enter. If you don't have the money or the means to build this thing into a thing, there's really no reason to enter. But I won't be able to weed those kind of out, I guess. But anyway, so I'll probably do one as a random drawing. And the other one, I got to thinking about how I'd like to give away another one. And I think what I'd like to do is, and again, I'm just thinking out loud here. I haven't put anything on the website, so you'll have to look for me to post stuff later. But I'm thinking about, I'd really like to give one to somebody who really wants one, really has a need for one. So what I might do is just have people, tell me put something on the website, and you go up there and you tell me in 25 words or less why you want a Gatton CNC kit. And I'll go through those and decide who is the most worthy out of that bunch. I think that'd be cool to do one that way. So y'all let me know what you think about that. Dave, here's a good question. How do you control your fancy Javi's Woodshop wants to know, how do I control my really fancy water-cooled spindle? Well, Javi, I'm glad you asked that. Let me show you how I control that sucker. I have a guy that came all the way from, I don't know if I can swing this cord around here. Maybe I can get it a little closer. You can see that? Is that not awesome? I had a guy that came to the meetup all the way from Miami, Florida, and he surprised me with this little gift. He made this remote for my spindle. It's pretty cool. It's just got a little on-off button, and it's got a little pot there where I can turn the speed up and down, and it's got like a super strong hard drive magnet on this side. But this is really cool. Thank you so much, Javi. I appreciate everything you've done. I can't, every time I come out of the garage, I don't know if you guys, I might not have said this publicly before or not, but every time I come out here to the garage, I think of Javi. And it's because he sent me some floor mats, fatigue mats, or whatever you want to call them. So every time I come out here and step on these things, I think of my buddy Javi. So thanks very much, Javi. And also, Javi, I don't know if you want me to tell this or not, but I'm going to anyway. I think he is planning on, gosh, that magnet's strong. I think he's planning on making these for folks and selling them. And they're really cool. This one especially cool because it's got all the cool stuff right there. But anyway, so I think Javi's planning on building a few of those. So check him out. Javi's Woodshop. I also have the link to, I don't know, did I mention this earlier? I think I did. The link to his video talking about the 30-day almost impossible challenge down below. So go subscribe to Javi. Don't forget to go subscribe to Holly Denny. She's got a, I don't know, Holly, are you still out there? She was on the chat earlier. I don't know if she's still out there or not. She's got a YouTube channel. I don't think there's anything on it, but I hope that she will get on that and start recording some of these pins and stuff she's doing. So go subscribe to her anyway. It doesn't matter if there's many videos or not. Just go subscribe. Go check out her website. Check out the Shawshank pins. And I guess we're going to wrap this up. We still got 54 folks watching. And a little after 9. So I'm ready to get out of here. Holly's got a cool logo. Yes, she does. It's really cool. You know, you're not going to hide anywhere when you're wearing this. They're not. Very cool. Okay, so if nobody else has any questions, and I assume you guys don't, I don't see any more scrolling up. I guess we'll get out of here. So I'm going to shoot David. You know, his website. Keith Sprankle, Andrew Haig. All right, I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to get out of here. It's not getting any cooler out here. So thanks, guys, so much for tuning in to watch these. Like I said, I thought this was going to be just a small little intimate group wanting to know about the Gatton, but you guys never cease to amaze me. Excuse me. So anyway, I'm out of here. Everybody have a good night. If anybody wants to join me for a private hangout later, let me know, and I'll send you a link if I can get Facebook to work on this thing. So everybody have a good night. Have a great weekend, and hope to see y'all down at the Klingspor extravaganza in a couple of weeks. Everybody take care. Good night.